Good evening and thank you for joining us. We begin with breaking news out of British Columbia tonight, where a Snowbird jet belonging to the Canadian military has crashed. Global News can confirm that one member of the team is dead, another ejected from the cockpit, landed on a house and is in stable condition in hospital.
Holy what the?
This video, captured by witnesses, shows two planes were in unison, then one started to climb, gaining altitude before spiraling to the ground. The plane went down in a residential neighborhood in Kamloops, BC.
When they took off, the one kind of deviated and went off by itself. It looked like they were just going to have some fun or whatever, put on a show. And once, as it started going upside down, angled over, I heard the guy in the truck beside me. He goes, "No, they're serious." And then you could see the pilots ejecting, and it didn't look like they were very high off the ground when they finally got out of that plane.
Let's bring in our Ottawa Bureau Chief, Mercedes Stephenson. Mercedes, you've learned the identity of the person who was killed.
Yeah, Robin, I'm sorry to report it is Captain Jennifer Casey. She was the public affairs officer for the Snowbirds team. I can tell you she's someone we dealt with an awful lot as media, just a fantastic woman. She was a former broadcaster herself. She joined the military, became an officer, and she was traveling with the Snowbirds, as the public affairs officers do. It's their job to do all the media and community relations for the team. She was on board that plane that went down. Her family has been notified of this tragedy. Again, the victim in this crash is Captain Jennifer Casey, the Snowbirds public affairs officer. The male pilot who was flying the plane, who we are not identifying at this point, survived. He was injured. He was transported to hospital where he is stable. He ended up landing on a roof. They did not have a lot of time to eject from the plane. It was quite low. You see it pull up very quickly after takeoff where it appears to lose thrust for some reason. I've spoken to a number of pilots who see the maneuver you see happening there is one that is executed when a pilot is trying to gain altitude because they've lost airspeed. Gives them more time to potentially eject or to try to land the plane. And in this case, we do know that the pilot ejected. So we don't know the cause of this yet. We don't know the reason this happened, but obviously a terrible tragedy for the military and for the Air Force. This is the second death that they have had in just a couple of weeks. Of course, the cyclone known as the Stalker went down in the Ionian Sea on April 29th.
Mercedes, we know that this was a cross-country tour to promote inspiration and inspire Canadians because of the COVID-19 crisis, but there have been concerns about the safety of these planes for years. Given their age and previous crashes, were any concerns raised at any point during Operation Inspiration?
I don't know about during this particular operation, Robin, but there have been ongoing concerns from the crews over the years and from members of the Canadian Forces about the age of these planes. They're actually built in the 1960s, to give you an idea of how old they are. There have been numerous crashes before. 7 pilots have died in crashes in the past. The most recent crash was in October of 2019. The pilot survived that one by ejecting, but there are questions about the ejection seat and the engine. Now, the report on what happened in that crash has not yet been completed, so we don't know. And of course, it's important to say we don't know what the cause of today's crash was.
Mercedes Stephenson in Ottawa.